From Harvard to Hell and Back is a memoir by Dr. Sylvester Sviokla, in which he tells the story of his drug addiction during his time as a successful doctor. He starts the story by talking about his background and how he grew up. He was born in Brockton, Massachusetts, and he's the son of two smart and successful parents. He attended Boston College High School, which he describes as one of the best high schools in the country. Starting from his junior year of high school, he was being heavily recruited to many Ivy League schools for football, and he ultimately decided to attend his favorite, which was Harvard. During his senior year, he was introduced to marijuana, and he started to drink heavily, which was the root of his addiction. During his years at Harvard Medical School, he was partially dependent on pills to be able to stay up late and get his work done. He covered all of this up from his wife Maureen, who he married during medical school and had 3 children with. When he was finally sober and in a good place in his life, he ran into some personal issues and slowly began to drink again. Taking drugs made him feel better about himself, and this quickly escalated to him taking more pills that he found at the hospital during work. He was only happy because his addiction was keeping him going. He was doing well at his job as a doctor until one specific event happened that sent him into a deep depression. This event is what finally led him to realize that he needed to recover, and he did. Throughout his memoir, he describes his experiences in extreme detail in order to convey his purpose to his readers. He wants everyone to understand how dangerous drug addiction can be, but he also wants to convey that recovery is possible, and he tells his own success story to prove that it is. This passage is how he starts off the memoir. His first sentence shows that he opens the pill bottle with great anticipation, which introduces the main focus of the piece right away. The fact that he chooses the words great anticipation showed that he is extremely desperate for drugs, and they also showed the extent of his addiction. Throughout this whole paragraph, he uses several similes to show how dependent he was on pills. He conveys the extent of his dependence by comparing himself to a near-blind man who was feeling around for a contact lens. Him saying that he would have licked the floor to find the pills that he dropped shows just how much the pills have taken over his life. His extreme desperation is portrayed once again when he said that he was on his knees. Him saying that all he needed was that one pill and that every pill mattered again came back to the recurring theme of desperation. He utilizes irony when he said that he's never allowed himself to be used to enable the addiction of the biggest rock stars in the world, but he himself enables his own habits. The fact that it was his idea to give the singer Demerol as she came off the stage showed that he truly wanted to help her, and he didn't have bad intentions for anyone else other than himself. His shameful and embarrassed tone is illustrated when he says that for himself he would do anything and that he had no ethics whatsoever. This shows that he didn't want to disappoint others, but he was fine with disappointing himself. This passage is a stark contrast to the next passage, which was taken from the end of the memoir. From the beginning of this passage, he presents a serious tone, which shows that he is serious about staying clean from drugs. Even though opioids would help his pain after surgery, he knew that his case was not typical and he didn't want to risk anything. Through his rejection of the drugs, he shows how much he has grown from the beginning of the memoir. Throughout this passage, he sprinkles in some humor to lighten his situation. An example of this humor is conveyed when he says that he wouldn't wish the excruciating pain on the Yale football team. Although he is aware that he is in a serious situation, his use of humorous devices add a sense of positivity, and they also add to his purpose and make recovery more appealing to his readers. Towards the end of this passage, he says that he felt like a veteran of the war when he rejected the drugs. This simile shows how proud he is of himself and of his determination to not take the drugs and to not revert back to his past lifestyle. Overall, I think that Dr. Sviokla does a great job of conveying his purpose, and he is very effective in doing so. He has a very inspirational life story, and he's able to tell it in a way that is enjoyable to read, but it also teaches an important lesson. His ability to recover from such a horrible addiction conveys that drive and determination can get anybody to where they want to be in life. His story also illustrates that self-motivation and self-discipline are extremely important to have. This is a great memoir that I would highly recommend, and I hope that it will be able to help a recovering addict in the future.